VMDR quarterly update series, presented by Qualys.
Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Colton Pepper and I'm here today joined by Russ, Raviraj, and Ramesh. And we're going to be doing a little bit, something a little bit different today in terms of video. Today we're going to be covering the 2024 VMDR updates that have been done on the VMDR platform. So we're going to be going through those today and perhaps even doing a little bit of demo examples of the features and the changes. But this conversation that we're having today with the four of us is going to be just that. So they will be just a conversation, very casual, talking about everything that's changed in the last half of 2024. So we're super excited about this. If you guys are enjoying this type of content, this is something that we're looking to do more and more of. So if you guys are enjoying this, please let us know down in the comments below. I think this is going to be a really interesting one, and I appreciate all you guys for joining. Whoever wants to start this thing first, let's kick this thing off the right way and get into some cool juicy updates.
Hey Colton, yeah, I'll go ahead and get us started with the updates from 2024. We are very excited to talk about this and remind customers what it is that we've been working on for the past year and what they can start to take advantage of. All right, well, we're going to first go through what's new in VMDR with all the updates and then follow up with the demo. The first thing I want to talk about is MITRE ATT&CK matrix prioritization. What this allows you to do now is to look at vulnerabilities from an attacker-centric point of view to get a better idea of what those attack vectors are as they relate to a vulnerability. So for instance, if you're looking at a vulnerability and you want to understand the tactic and techniques behind attack vector, and that could be chained with another vulnerability, such as privilege escalation or lateral movement, to create an attack kill chain. This way it allows you to be more predictive of the type of threats that you will have in your environment. Also, this gives you a holistic view because we're not just pulling in vulnerabilities from VMDR, we're also pulling in misconfigurations from policy compliance and incidents from EDR. So you get a full view from end to end what that potential attack vector looks like. And overall, this is going to help you kill those attack paths and stop the attackers in their tracks by using another method of intelligently prioritizing vulnerability and remediation.
This is really great. Do we know as far as this goes? Is this I'm assuming all the different tactics, right?
Correct. Yeah, right. And what we're doing is we're taking all the vulnerabilities and mapping them to that tactics and techniques. There's numerical values for each one of those. Mm-hmm. They're already predefined by MITRE, and using our threat intelligence that we're pulling in, we're able to do those correlations. Another exciting thing that we want to talk about is software composition analysis. So normally our vulnerability scanning, we pull a package list from the system, or we're looking in the registry and identify all the different versions of software you have installed. What we're doing now is we're taking it a step further and we're analyzing the application services on the target host for open source libraries. And this is really helpful if you have a machine or a host that is hosting a first-party application. That's something that you developed in-house and you're using open source code or libraries to build that. Earlier in my career, I would spend a lot of time in the WordPress community. And in that community, that if you ever saw like a plugin that hasn't been updated in 2 or 3 years, you want to stay away from it. Well, the similar dichotomy happens with open source libraries. These libraries are developed at one time, but we find that over time they just don't have they're not getting updated. And according to our stat here, it's 91% of packages installed that have not had any development over the past 2 years. So we're able to now give you this feature completely free with VMDR that allows you to do a deeper analysis of those open source libraries and identify any risk associated with those. So you can take proactive action. That's not something that we're saying, don't turn this on across the board. Be very intentional and deliberate about the places that you want to install, run this scan at.
Just to add there, I think this will also help customer to stay ahead of any upcoming Log4j, because during the time most of the customers or every customer had a tough time to know where are these Log4j libraries being running and where are these installed, which application services are using, right? So this is going to be very handy to stay ahead in the game in the upcoming such event in future. I think this is going to help drastically every other customer out there.
All right, next up is the TrueRisk Executive Report. Whether you're really adopted TrueRisk or not, this is still going to give you a picture of the state of the union of your cybersecurity domain or all of your digital assets from a cybersecurity posture perspective. As you can see in the quick hit images here they're cycling through, we'll give you a full landscape of what your external attack surface looks like from a risk perspective, internal, which vulnerabilities are being attacked by threat actors or ransomware campaigns, malware campaigns, which ones are the CISA KEV list. Whatever your organization, your primary focus is on, we're able to now quantify that and provide that to you with a single report. And this is something that you can get enabled on your subscription today since it's currently in beta.
So just to add that, Russ, so what we're going to do is that it's going to be live in the coming quarter, and we're going to come up with a revamped version of this report. It's going to add more value. It's going to give you more insights. Going to give you more insights in terms of like relatively comparing the vulnerabilities in terms of percentage, giving you a idea of how much percentage of your vulnerabilities are like threat actors like CISA, KVs or malware. So that gives you a real picture of your environment, how secure it is. And going to add a few more other things as well. We're going to have like customers would be able to generate it based on specific tags, or if they want to do it for a generic report for the whole organization, they would be able to do that. Currently, we have some limitations. So since it's in beta, that's something which is going to be exciting in the coming months.
You guys remember the old school Qualys executive reports or the executive summaries?
I think they're still in the scorecards.
Yeah. So I say old school because they look super old school, don't they?
They're still in there.
Right, but they're still there.
Yeah.
This I think is just a leaps and bounds improvement over those old scorecards. I've actually ran this on my own private subscription. You know, one of the perks of working for Qualys is you get your own subscription for all the different modules, and I ran it and I was like, this is so cool. It's so much better than the old scorecard.
And you know the best part about this report is if you have multiple subscriptions, let's say if you have EDR or if you have PC or CSAM, so it's going to give you insights about CSAM as well as for PC as well as for EDR. So that gives you a comprehensive view of all your products in one report to analyze it much better.
All right, the next item here is vulnerability tagging and alerting. And today you're very well aware that you can tag assets either using a dynamic role based on a property of that asset, or you can slap it with a static tag or stamp it, as I like to call. And you're doing it at the asset level. Now we're giving you the ability to tag at the vulnerability level. And what the use case for this is, you could potentially identify vulnerabilities that need to be bifurcated to different teams. So if you need to identify all your database vulnerabilities, they would go to the database team. Anything application related would go to the application team, or if anything infrastructure related, may go to the Windows or Linux teams. And using these tags, you can now use those and visualize that on dashboards to kind of get a better understanding of what the burn down or risk is for each one of those particular responsibility areas. And this also works for alerting as well. So in our detection responses, you can proactively set up alerts for vulnerabilities that you identify in the environment. All right, the CISA known exploitable vulnerability list, due date and EPSS score, is something that we've had the CISA KEV in our TrueRisk QDS analysis as a factor since it's been introduced, but now we've added the due date. And this way, there's also QQL associated with this, so you can run calculations against that due date to see, okay, well, how many vulnerabilities do I have that I need to prioritize because the due date is coming up. Currently, our CISA KEV covers 98.7% of all known CSACAV vulnerabilities that we do detections for. Also, we've included EPSS, which determines the likelihood of exploit for more of an open source and well understood. We still believe that QDS is still the best way to go because we're recalculating that value every day based on the 29 sources of threat intelligence that we're getting into the platform. But either way, it's still there and available for you to leverage at a vulnerability level.
And just to add one thing, so the EPSS scoring is like the score is like it's going to be in decimal points. 1 is going to be the highest scoring, and if it's going to be like 0.9 or 0.98, it's going to be very high. And lower the decimal point, it's going to be the better score. That's what is the numbering mechanism for EPSS.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ravi, because it is really important to point out that is a percentage in decimal point.
Yeah.
Whereas 1 is 100%, 0.01 is 1%.
1%, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the likelihood of exploit of that vulnerability. Is what that value represents. All right, disconnected ESXi hosts. This is now in beta. So what this is currently when our appliances scan an ESXi host, we're hitting that on the interface, right? So we're going to log in or authenticate potentially via 443 to that host and analyze that host, and we're doing it against that IP of the host. In some cases, we found some of our customers, the Qualys scanner doesn't have direct access to ESXi hosts. So now we're providing you the ability to go through vCenter, through the vCenter API, and then it will report back what each one of those versions of ESXi are, and we can infer the vulnerabilities based on that. Similar to the diagram that we're showing on screen here. This is, it's basically you're doing an API call against vCenter to pull that data back instead of scanning each one of those individual ESXi hosts on a host per host basis. It's easy for me to say.
Yeah, right. We actually had a really good webinar on this back on November 20th. It was with Himanshu. I had to look up to see exactly who all it was. But it was with Himanshu Kathpal. We also had Siddharth Bhatia that was also on that. And it was a really, really good webinar. So we'll put a link down in the description below that points to that webinar if you're interested in learning more about it.
And long-time policy compliance users know that you've been able to do this for a while now, but in VM, we still wanted to consider the ESXi host an attack surface and approach it from that perspective, but due to customer demand and the need that drove us to make sure that we bake this feature in as well. So make sure you get those feature requests in. We definitely listen and prioritize based on what you guys are telling us that you like to see in the platform.
Yep, it's important for us to get that from everyone for sure. Mm-hmm.
Just to add there, one of the key difference between what is there in policy compliance and VMDR is that in the policy compliance, customers are expected to give the ESXi IP address for scanning. But whereas when you do that from VMDR, you're only expected to give your vCenter IPs. So we will directly make a call to the vCenter, and from the vCenter, we will start discovering what all are the hosts which could be connected or disconnected, which means probably they are not on at the point of time. And by using that, we will be able to know what are the hosts. So we'll be grabbing the configuration information from these and then bring it back to the platform. By going through the configuration files, then we will be able to know what is the version of ESXi, what are the vulnerabilities that are coming on this particular versions, and give you a complete view of it. So this is going to be, it will ensure that all your blind spots are completely known, and then you take actions on these, because many a times you won't even know what these vulnerabilities around are, since these are disconnected at this point of time.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, Ramesh, that's a really good point. So what you're saying is you just need to define a single vCenter record. Okay. And if we scan that vCenter, we'll automatically do all the discovery for all the ESXi hosts that are in that cluster and give you that holistic view, similar to how our public cloud connectors work.
Oh yeah, very much, yeah. Pretty very much.
All right, remote cloud agent deployment. If you're in a situation where maybe you done an M&A, he brought a new organization on, or there's just parts of the organization where you're able to successfully perform an authenticated scan against those target hosts, but for one reason or another, you're having some challenges getting cloud agents onto those hosts, right? So when we have a cloud agent on the host, you unlock new features like EDR, file integrity monitoring, patch management, and now mitigate, and the cloud agent passive sensor, and so you want to expand that feature set on those target hosts because, and now we're giving you the ability to do that with deploying the cloud agents using the appliance scanner. So it's provided as long as we can authenticate that remote host, then we'll be able to deploy a cloud agent to it.
Another great webinar we just had on the 21st of January. Link in the description for that one as well. That's Spencer Brown, Radima Bali, and myself on that webinar.
So I think this is going to be this has been widely used by a lot of customers. So when we did a beta enablement, we had a very good amount of customers who got onboarded and gave a great feedback that this is really reducing the time for them to deploy the agent. And earlier they used to only rely on their infrastructure team, and then they need to submit a lot of tickets for them and very time-taking approaches in getting the agent deployed, and which was very manual. Now the control is completely given into your security team who does the standard scans, and you already have an authentication available for accessing those Windows and Linux machines, which by the traditional remote scans. The same capability, so the customers are empowered to do this now and to have the cloud agent easily deployed. So this is going to be very awesome and will be used by a lot of customers as we move forward.
Thank you, Ramesh. GCP perimeter scans. If you've established a connector in the public cloud or your GCP project, we give you the ability to now take all the information about those running instances, if they have public interfaces on them, and dynamically roll them into a VMDR perimeter scan. This is a great way to, at the very minimum, getting eyes on your perimeter is key. And in public cloud, it's a little bit more of a challenge because the instances are moving up and down. The environment's very dynamic, so it's not as easy as just pulling IPs out and putting them in VMDR, and then you're like, okay, I got my perimeter taken care of. And take advantage of these connectors and pull that information from those data planes into Qualys, so we can actively identify those and attempt to scan them once they're available or once they become known in our inventory.
Yeah, it takes all the guesswork out of it. You don't have to enter in any of those IP addresses manually. The cloud connector takes care of all of that for you.
Right. And I've also seen some use cases where, like, customer, if they're doing an IP based scan for their external or the cloud perimeter level, instead of using this approach, they end up scanning the cloud provider's IP address, where they will not even reach the particular instances of which belongs to their account. So at times they end up scanning it could be GCP, Azure, or AWS, their IPs, whereas they may not be able to reach to the actual instances. So through this, if once they start doing the instances, they know for a same instance, if you are also doing an internal scan and an external scan, then you get complete visibility of what is your internal and an external finding. So that is an added advantage, and this has been by default enabled for all VMDR subscriptions. So where you get to do all of these 3 cloud perimeter scans, whichever is available at your environment. So we highly recommend using this one rather than using the IP-based external scans for your cloud perimeter assets.
Something else we've been working on this past year is refactoring or updating our VMDR to ITSM. And we say VMDR to ITSM, we mean Qualys VMDR to ServiceNow ITSM. This gives you the ability to install the 2 apps, Qualys Core and Qualys VMDR, in your ServiceNow environment and pull Qualys data into the ServiceNow and create incidents. With this new app, we are now writing tasks to the incident table, but with no loss of functionality from setting up false positive workflows, exceptions workflows, even we even give you the ability to patch systems from this application if you're a patch management customer. So this is incredible. This is included with VMDR. There's no additional cost. And this is if you currently are a ServiceNow customer and you're not getting any vulnerabilities into your environment, this is a great place to start. You have at least 4 different instances of ServiceNow. We encourage you to consider at least putting this in your dev environment, getting started with the POC, and you don't even have to pull in all your Qualys data. You can actually, on the, we call them import configurations, scope it down to an asset tag or an asset group or maybe a finite range of IPs, start pulling data in and then orchestrate it, and then you can assign those tasks that are created to remediation owners. You can set SLAs to encourage remediation timelines, and overall get that communication out of Qualys directly into the hands of remediation owners using ServiceNow.
Link to that webinar in the description below.
In your chatter box below.
Yes, Russ gets the reference here. So that webinar was recorded on December 11th. I was with Sayed Abbasi and I'm so sorry. My screen updated. That was Russ, you and I, and I think and Ramesh. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, guys, I've recorded a lot of webinars so far. But yeah, it was a really good webinar. So a lot of detail went into that, or a lot of details included in that webinar that really breaks it down. And just to be clear on this, Russ and Ramesh, please correct me if I'm wrong on this. These two, what would you call these? The Qualys VMDR, the Qualys Core? Okay, apps. Yeah. Okay. So those are no additional cost, right? So you do not need the ServiceNow incident. What was it? What do they call it?
It's called Security Operations Vulnerability Response, which is
thank you.
It's
totally spaced on that.
It's the version that ServiceNow created to pull in tickets, and it's the elite version, right? That's the Cadillac, right? If you need to pull in vulnerabilities from more than just Qualys, from maybe other tools, I would consider going that route, right? That's still a well-established and mature solution. And we're just giving customers the ability that may not have an appetite for that level of intensity in terms of what applications they need, but they still need to get this data into ServiceNow. This is a great place to start. It's a stepping block in that direction. All right, containerized scanner appliance. The scanners today they come virtual, or you can deploy them as a infrastructure as a service host in a virtual environment. Now we've provided a containerized version of the scanner appliance. So if you need to scale workloads up and down, this is a great way to do that. If you are cost conscious and you want to have a appliance come up when it's needed and then get shut down afterwards, this is also another great way to go about implementing that, especially if you're more of a mature environment where you're using a lot of containerization. This is definitely an awesome way to go. All right, recommended option profile. So we're making some changes to the option profile that you've come to know and love for many years now. One of those key changes is that we've increased the standard TCP ports from 1900 to 2800. So that means that during each scan, we're going to be scanning a lot, potentially discovering a lot more ports in scope of that. And if we do, then we'll assess those open ports for risk.
Did we make any changes to the UDP ports?
No changes to the UDP ports. Just TCP.
Okay. All right.
So I have just one question. So does this increase the time for scanning since we have increasing the number of ports?
It does not, that we're aware of, at least through our limited testing.
Yeah. We just wanted to be.
I'm sure the time add is probably marginal.
I mean, we'd have to identify that there's an additional port open, right? So I mean, that's yes. I mean, the additional scanning checking does take a little bit longer, and but I don't know. It's the actual scanning of the service when it occurs.
Yeah.
That's what is going to add a significant amount of time.
Basically, the surface is increasing for the
Yeah, the
scan?
attack surface is increasing, so we're also increasing more number of ports, and based on study from research team, so we enhance the port. And in addition to that, we also updated the performance setting for a scan to adapt to this increase in the number of ports. So that is one of the reasons why we didn't see a significant increase in the number of time what it used to take earlier versus now. So that has been handled, and that ensures that it still comes in a marginal timeline, but shouldn't be too way high as we were initially thinking. And the performance setting has really helped here a lot. So the Qualys UI, whatever we had in the past, so we're coming up with a quick update, and couple of customers would have already seen this. Initially, when you log into the Qualys page, on the left hand side, we are flashing a message to call out that we are moving to the new UI, which is referred as Qualys UI 4.0, and where you would have a timeline on when is this getting to be made available. So in addition to that, we already revamped your login pages, which was in traditional old model school days, so which has been completely redesigned. And we are also redesigning the complete entire part of your interfaces to have a seamless view all across the platform, wherever the application you are. So we are going to have a seamless view. So while we introduce this new UI, we are going to provide you a toggle on and off where you can switch between the old and new. So there's going to be considerable amount of time what is given to be between the old and new. So how long you will be able to switch between, and after a certain duration of couple of months, then you will be asked to move to the new UI for a longer durations. And this also adds faster navigation, simplified workflows, and in some of the screens we had this cornered screens have been updated. So to bring in a new modern way of UI operations or user interface operations into this entire Qualys platform, be it any of the applications or be it any of the modules wherever you are. So all the modules are going to be enriched and updated. So we really feel that this is going to be very intuitive design and an UI operations, which will obviously help you to better navigate and take actions with the faster responses in all of the screens as we move forward. So this is how the new dashboard going to look like in the new UI. So this is going to be all jazzy new UI, which you'll be able to see, and we'll have a quick demo also as we move forward. So there's going to be a change in the primary navigation, secondary navigations, and we'll also be having options where you can even minimize some of these interfaces which was taking longer space in the particular UI operations. So all that has been simplified. While we go to the demo, you'll be able to see this pretty cool thing where you can minimize your left panel, right panel, so you get more space to see what are your vulnerabilities and do better actions on the modern UI and the field. So this is going to be available in the next upcoming week. So we have already deployed on few pods. We are continuing to deploy it on all the pods. So probably in the next 1 or 2 weeks, this should be available in all the pods. Russ talked about the importance of cloud perimeter scan, yes, which is at the perimeter level. And this is a change to the Azure internal scans, or commonly referred as instance-based scans. So whereas in the earlier days, so you used to scan your Azure by going with an IP address, which is no longer required. You can configure your Azure connector, get to know the real-time instances and the cloud resources, whatever are coming on those particular Azure cloud account, and then followed by that you will be also able to see what are the cloud resources and instances. So this should ensure that you are not missing any of your Azure instances which are really live or turned off, so to give you a complete posture of it. And with an auto activation option available at your cloud connector, so you will ensure those any assets that are getting onboarded in your Azure cloud so are automatically added to your vulnerability management scans, and with the upcoming scheduled scan or any of the on-demand scan, so that would ensure that all your Azure instances are completely covered. So if you're doing an IP-based scan, then high possibilities that you may miss some of those. So with this, you get to know that complete visibility, and also the resources of cloud, which you can better get it scanned by using the total cloud to know what are the misconfigurations out there. And with the total cloud, we also have flex scans, which comes with API and snapshot based assessment for your ephemeral assets, which are living for a very shorter duration, which you can't scan by using a traditional scan, can get covered through your flex scans, which is as part of the total cloud capability which is available.
And if you currently have connectors set up for Azure, your Azure subscriptions. When this is released, don't walk, run to get those set up, right? Because it's so important to automate this, because you're right now, like what Ramesh said, you're treating Azure as it's like an extension of your data center. It's like a co-host at this point. You're scanning wide swaths of IPs. This is going to bring your scan times down significantly. It's also going to avoid scanning and picking up private endpoints in Azure. The private endpoints are whenever you take an object from the Azure service and they use an IP internally to your organization to expose that service, and Qualys will pick up on that, and then it'll end up getting put into another system, and then people are like, what is this IP? What can we do with this? Well, this is going to avoid that, because we're only going to be pulling instance data from the connector and moving that into VMDR for the target scanning. So this is a beautiful thing. So I hope you guys get really excited and take advantage of this as soon as it gets released.
So the another piece of cool information is that the vulnerability detection source. So let's take a quick example of what it means and why is it very helpful. So for an instance that is in cloud, you would be scanning through multiple interfaces of it. One is that you can have a cloud agent which is running on it, which will give a real-time vulnerabilities, and followed by that you also can use the instance-based scan what we just covered. So, and then you would also be scanning the same asset from a perimeter level. Now you have multiple sets of vulnerabilities getting detected on a same host, and in addition to that there could also be a software composition analysis which we also covered earlier. So now there are 4 different types of sensors which is identifying the vulnerability on a host. How do you know that what interface or what is the source of this vulnerability? Among these 4, what is the most critical among them, and how do I prioritize them for remediations? So it's completely a blind spot until now. So now that has been solved by introducing a vulnerability detection source. So you'll start seeing this new icons appearing on as soon as this goes out, and this is getting to be in beta, and we can actually enable it for a set of bunch of customers based on request. So where you get to see what is your latest detection source for a vulnerability. Like I said, the 4 types of scans. The cloud perimeter is the one which is very critical, and that would need immediate attention for you to address that particular vulnerability. So then you can start focusing on the cloud perimeter vulnerability or your external set of vulnerability which are exposed to take a quick action. So if there are multiple sources coming in, then you will start seeing multiple icons over here. So here is a detection which has come in from external and internal both. So, and you can take prioritization actions for it. We are also introducing an group by model of it, where you can create cool widgets to know how's your coverage happening with multiple different sensors available. I think Qualys has got the most extensive amount of sensors available, starting from internal cloud agent for real time, internal instance-based scan for AWS and Azure. Perimeter level covers all your 3 cloud providers, and then we also have SWCA scans, Flux scans for your snapshot and API to do better assessment and quicker assessment. We are also coming up with a deep file scan also in the future. So a lot of benefits over here to know and prioritize your vulnerabilities effectively and to take immediate actions for your exposed to the internet items. So that gives you a privilege to identify and take prioritizations quicker and move faster in the attack surface.
We don't have enough time to talk about this, but that deep scan sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to come up next to us. Probably in the next session, I think we'll be covering that part.
Yeah, stay tuned, everybody. Come back and visit us again next quarter.
Well, wait, there's more.
Okay. This is another big thing where currently, just to give a background, the user management in Qualys is currently exist in 2 different UI. One is in the administration module, and the other is happening in the VMDR. You can go to the users where users can get created. But customers are having tough time in managing in these 2 modules. So we are coming up with the centralized user management. This would come up with complete RBAC with role-based access control being fully available. So you can manage all your user management from a single UI operations. New APIs are going to be available. For example, if some APIs while you're using from the VMDR users tab is not available, so this new API and UI is going to provide you end-to-end operations for your user management in a single centralized place. And a lot of benefits over here as we are able to see, which we'll also cover in the next upcoming slide about it, and which has been widely asked by a lot of customers to have a complete RBAC. And another quick update here is, as you notice on this example here, we are going to have manager specific roles per module. So earlier are the days where a single manager user will be able to control your entire Qualys platform. But going forward, we are going to break that barrier and say, if you want to be a VM manager, then he or she may not have access to policy compliance, and the other person may not be able to access EDR or other product. Every product is going to use their own set of user roles and permissions. This is going to be complete RBAC control going to be given. So this is going to be available in beta. We can have it activated for a few customers. We already have partnered with a couple of customers and have seen significant progress that has been made in the last 6 months or 7 months over here, and a lot of journey is going to be continuously on this entire RBAC or centralized user management, and putting forward everything in a single centralized place. Okay, so this has been asked by years, so this has been solved at this point of time.
This could be a welcome edition for sure. I can hear angels singing in response to this new feature coming out.
Dude, this has been something that customers have asked for a while now, and I'm so glad. I remember it being something like, no, we hear you, we know, we all see it too, it needs to be done. It was such a heavy lift to be able to get to this point, and I'm really, really, really excited that it's finally done. This is so cool.
Well, it's a start. It's
so
a start.
excited.
We're not quite done.
Yeah,
It's just a start.
That's true. That's
much
true.
more to
I
come.
should clarify. It's not complete, but it is. This is obviously us putting our best foot forward and making that step to make those changes and improvements.
For the next one, you guys need to give a wow moment. The next one is going to be much more exciting than this.
Oh,
Okay.
shoot, then I'll just go on mute then. I just need to be patient.
Okay, so for API access to the Qualys product, every of you would be using your username and password for authentication, where we are completely moving from the user management of using basic credential for it. So we have integrated with OIDC, Open Identity Connect, and that gives us a privilege for customers. So you can use your own IDP and use JWT for your API access. So this is something which has been widely asked by most of the customers. Since we are moving into the centralized user management, that is also giving us additional privilege, where we integrated with OIDC and use your JWTs and have it configured in Qualys, similar to the SAML authentication what we used to do. So this is going to be the next step of it, where bring your JWT, have it integrated, login, no need of any username and password for your seamless authentication for your APIs, as a secure method of accessing your for your API, and it could be a human accessing it or a service account, whatever is coming on that. So this is going to be another quick update what is getting rolled out. So this is already available on all the pods. So we have already activated it for a bunch of customers and have got very good feedback on this there. So as an extension in the next upcoming quarter, so we are also going with OAuth 2.0. So if you are unable to use your IDP for your JWT, while we go to the OAuth 2.0, then you can use the Qualys provided tokens of JSON Web Token, and then you can further authenticate if there are challenges in using your internal IDP settings for these. So this is going to be another big item what is going to be out, and yeah, please feel free to get this activated as soon as you get to know about it. I think with that I wrap up and the PPT part, and let's quickly see how the new Jassy UI is going to look like, and how is that going to make noise. So yeah, let's quickly take a quick demo of that.
Yeah, so I've seen the new UI, but I haven't seen while you guys are getting the setup, I haven't seen the dashboards. The dashboards are super cool. I really like the new look of them.
Yeah, so this is something new. I hope you guys are seeing some difference in the screen over here. There's something changed, something has gone out of from here. Now it's been shifted to the left side. Now it's left aligned. Now what does this make a difference? Now it gives you more space over here. Now you have a bigger space to see your widgets, see your vulnerabilities. Now it just collapses over here. We have a collapsible menu item over here. So here is the option. Like the previous one which we had was like we had something on the top and then it used to drop down. So it used to consume a lot of screen space and it was very old school, I would say. But this is something which we are coming up with a new way of doing this, where you can select the modules over here, which is a collapsible one. And then at the same time, we have the other options as vulnerabilities tab, the scans over here. And you can also see that there's some significant change in the way we see the widgets. They've been like reshaped a bit. And also, I'll just show you how the scans look now.
This is super cool.
Yeah. So basically, what is more important is that now it is more of a flow which we have got in this, which is helping the customer understand the sequence of it and has less to look at together rather than previously we had too many options to see at the same time. Now you can see now the options like the secondary or the primary options have been minimized just over here. And when you go to the secondary ones, these are the secondary ones. You can see only the secondary ones where we can just launch a scan from here. So it reduces a significant amount of confusion as well as gives you a clarity on what is the next step you need to do. At the same time, you also can go to the vulnerabilities tab and see the vulnerabilities tab was the most crowded thing, which I felt at some point it has too many options to go through. And we've made few things over here that we can quickly just hide few things. So we can just hide this one. You can see this, the total detection. You can just hide it and make this space more usable. And if you want to have like more options, quick filters, you can see over here. This was initially like a fixed widget kind of thing, fixed pane over here. Now we have an option to just collapse it and use the maximum amount of the screen. So these are few things which we have come up. And also I would like to tell you that there is an option to switch back to the old UI or switch to the new UI. So this is available in the help option. You can see over here. There's something which eventually everyone is going to switch to this one. And we would recommend everyone to just use the new UI and make the maximum out of it, as it is giving a lot of, the feature pack, I would say it's something new.
Yeah, just rip the Band-Aid off, learn the new UI, get used to it. It's better that way. Don't put it off because the old UI will be going away eventually.
Yeah.
So what am I, when I log into Qualys one of these days coming up, am I going to see the new UI right away or do I need to turn this on?
So yeah, it is going to be turned on by default.
Okay.
And if you'd like to navigate back to the old UI, you will still be able to switch for a couple of months until you are completely comfortable with it, and you can switch back. And there's also going to be a feedback available option if there's some comments if you'd like to make, so which will be tracked by the engineering and the product management over here. So you can leave a comment while you're switching from new to old, and what is that you would like to call out, whether this is really good or any quick feedback if you'd like to provide us, so that we can take those and improvise anything in the future if required.
How much change is this going to create or cause from a process perspective, right? I've got my team trained on Qualys. They know how to click to do certain things. How much impact is that going to have on their daily operations?
So from an UI operations is concerned, yeah, it's going to be slightly a change in the way how they have been seeing the Qualys for a long time. So like Ravi explained, a lot of collapse options are going to be available. So where you get to see more workable kind of an atmosphere where you want to use all these navigations in a better way. And all the screen variants, as we saw, it was taking too much of space on the left and on the top. So all those has been very well minimized now for you to take quick actions, right? And the primary navigation, so when you land on to the reports tab, so then you have sub tabs within the reports. So all that is completely collapsed, because that gives you an additional amount of space in the UI operations for you to better do these activities.
But it doesn't look like the functionality has changed. So when I get to this reports tab, or if I get to the scan tab, it looks like it still works the same way it did before.
The structuring is same. So
Okay.
it's just kind of like the way you use the screen, and the screen utilization has been better now in terms of the options which you see at the same time, because having too many options at the same time, it reduces like the concentration level at what the person needs to focus on. That's what we are trying to make it more usable than rather having too many options available for the customer to go through. It's not a like flow has been not been changed anything. It's gonna the
Okay.
flow is gonna still be the same.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what else do we got, guys?
There's one thing which is the most important thing: the wrap up video. You guys see this icon over here on the top? This really exciting thing. This is the most exciting thing which recently Qualys has come up with. Like we have come up with a rewind video kind of thing, like what you did in the last year, like what did you fix, what did you miss. And this is a very customized video for every customer and every user, like based on his access, he'll be able to see the video. We have come up with few data points which the user needs to focus on, like see how many assets they have scanned, how many vulnerabilities they have discovered, how many they have patched, or what they need to focus on. And I would really want everyone to just try this video once. And we've got few reports as well, which can be there, which the user can request to the TAMs. And I would request all the users to please talk to their TAMs and get the TrueRisk report or the ESAM report or the TechDev report, whichever they would like to see, and get the maximum out of the product. And also there's a questionnaire at the end of the at the video. So I urge everyone to please fill in the questionnaire, so that helps us to understand how well you're using the VMDR product, as well as what we want to track, like if you're missing on anything, that's something which we can address it and help you understand or get you the maximum usage of the product and not miss out on anything, that the user should be using it. And also enjoy the video. It's something that really you have worked hard for the whole year, and that's something which we're trying to visualize it for you.
It's kind of a celebration of all your accomplishments for 2024.
Yeah.
It was a wild and crazy year for cybersecurity and vulnerabilities. All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. This is really, really great. I'm excited for all of these updates. I'm most excited for all of our customers. Working with customers previous to my current position, a lot of the things that were brought up in today's video were things that have been brought up in the past, and so I'm super excited about this. Any last words that you guys have?
I'd say, mark it on your calendar and come back and join us every quarter. Every quarter, we would like to continue being more proactive about reaching out to the community, regardless of your size of being a customer, let you know what we've been up to. What are the new features that we put in the platform? What is it that you can be aware of, and what can you start planning for in terms of implementation with your existing programs?
For every quarter, we're going to do a recap of all of the updates that have come out. And so that is your place and your time and your video, rather, to see what all we've been working on. So we're really excited about this, and we would love for you to please tell us how we're doing on these videos. How can we make them better? Is there anything that you like the most about these videos? Please just let us know. We absolutely thrive and need feedback. So we're looking for you to, or asking for you to please help us with that. Kind of in closing here, I just wanted to quickly say that the link to the Qualys release notes is down in the description below. You probably have already noticed that for each feature that we talked about, we're in a different chapter. Down below, we've also have, I'll include the link to the release notes for the feature that we're talking about. So make sure to go down there and check those out. And then, of course, as everyone on YouTube says, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications, so then that you can always stay on top of whenever we release new videos. Guys, thank you so much. This has been really fun, and it's exciting to do something different in terms of video content here at Qualys. So you guys are the first that we've done this with, and so I appreciate the three of you for being our guinea pigs and willing to be our test subjects for this. But thank you guys. I appreciate everything.
Sure.
And thank you to our
Thanks a lot.
customers.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.